Okay, so we are now getting into the material requirement planning, the question that came in an assignment. All right, but before getting down to this question, we need to first and foremost look at the components of material requirement planning, which is also called MRP. Okay, so material requirement planning considers the items used in production, and of course, this MRP has 6 major components. The first component of MRP is called gross requirements. So the gross requirements are the same as demand. So these are units of the commodity that are demanded by customers on the aspect of the gross requirements. So units of the commodity demanded by customers. Then as much as customers are demanding the units of the commodity, there's aspect of the schedule receipts. So schedule receipts, these are units of the commodity that the firm should receive from their suppliers, looking at the demand they're having from the customers. All right, so the customers are demanding more units of the commodity. You actually go and get a schedule receipts from the suppliers so that you can come and meet your demand at your office. Or if you're running, you sell potatoes, you know that people are demanding more potatoes from you. You need to go to the suppliers and get more from them. The term used is schedule receipts. These are units of the commodity that are received from the suppliers by the firm. Then we have on hand, that is the stock available to start with. So meaning whatever you started with, you should aggregate with what you have received from your suppliers as schedule receipts, so that you find what will be the total stock available that you can now see if you can meet the demand as the gross requirements. Then the net requirements, we're simply saying these are shortage units required to meet demand. So you know, as much as we have opened with the beginning stock plus the schedule receipts, the total of this, if it will not be enough to meet the demand of the gross requirements, then we have what we call the net requirement, the shortage units required to meet demand. Then we have the planned order receipt. This is an order that you receive from the customers. So on the first aspect here, among the 6 components in MRP, okay, in MRP, among the 6 components that we have in MRP, we need to make sure that we okay, so under the first one, 6 components. So the first component is the gross requirements. So the first one is a GR. So this is the way the order is supposed to be, which is the same as demand. Then the second one is the scheduled receipts, SR, scheduled receipts. Okay, so scheduled receipts. So this is the scheduled receipts. Then number 3 is on hand. This is the order in which they're supposed to be on hand, which is the same as stock available. So as we prepare MRP, this is the order in which we need to follow. Then number 4, we have the aspect of net requirements. These are shorted units. So shorted units, that is number 4. Then we have the planned order receipt. Just write in short form, POR, planned order receipt. And order receipt. And then the other one is planned order release. So you have the planned order release. And order release. So these are the 6 components. All right, so this is the order in which we need to present our MRP. So now we have this is an order received from customer. So this one is received from customer. So an order receipt is this one comes from customer. Okay, then you release an order to a customer. So this one is released to a customer. So that order as per order release. Okay, so this is released to a customer as per order receipt from that customer. So this one is released to a customer. So this one is just the OAA is supposed to present these components as a summary of MRP. So we need to have those components in order. That's the way it's supposed to appear. Now we get into inputs to MRP. So inputs in MRP. So the first input here, so we can have the first one is bill of material. So bill of materials. Okay, then we have the master production schedule. So we have the master schedule here. Of course, we have also the inventory status file. The inventory status file. So these are the inputs in MRP. Okay, so just these ones. Then we have what we call load sizing rules in MRP, load sizing. So load sizing rules, the first one we have is load for lot. For A, we are simply saying load for lot. The other one is fixed order quantity, FOQ, fixed order quantity. So these are sizing rules or production rules. Production or load sizing rules in MRP. So the third one is actually, okay, so period order quantity. So this is a fixed order. So fixed order quantity. Then the other one is period order quantity. So under fixed order quantity, you order regardless of the shortage. You are just ordering fixed every time. We should order 1,000 units, an example, without looking at whatever is required. Then the other one is PPB, which is called part period balancing lot sizing. So part period balancing lot sizing. So this is it. Then the last one is economic order quantity, EOQ. So these are the lot sizing rules that are used in material requirement planning. So this is economic lot size. Okay, so this is about what we have here. Okay, now MRP depends on the product structure tree. Product structure tree. Now, this structure tree is obtained from the information given in the question. So this one, there's no formula for MRP structure. It will just we get it from the information given in the question. All right, so now getting down to the information where we are simply saying MRP. So here in MRP, we always consider the lead time, which is the time taken between when an order is placed and when an order is received. Now, the lot sizing rules used in material requirement planning are the first one, lot for lot. So this is similar to chest strategy aggregate planning. So this is a lot sizing rule used for perishable goods. You can't order more than what is required because tomatoes may go bad. So here the firm should produce the net requirements or produce the shortage, so they produce as per demand. Then the second one on the fixed order quantity, here the firm should produce units of the commodity regardless of the net requirements. So it's possible that the firm should have the carrying units because they could have ordered more on the fixed base than what is required. All right, then we're getting to economic order quantity. This is a resizing rule that requires the firm to have the ordering policy by using the economic order quantity formula, which is 2ds/c, when determining the units to be ordered. All right, so it's possible that they can order more than what is required, and they can have carrying units that they can keep in the warehouse or at home. Period order quantity is just the sizing rule that shows the period in which an order should be placed. E.g., POQ of 2 days means that after 2 days, an order should be placed. Then getting down to part period balancing. So this is a lot sizing rule that requires the firm, that requires the ordering policy or the firm to order in such a way that the annual carrying cost should not exceed annual ordering cost. So annual carrying cost should not exceed annual ordering cost. So carrying units should be less or equal to ordering cost. This is the objective of part period balancing. So we are balancing the carrying cost or holding cost and the ordering cost. So MRP depends on the product structure tree, which is usually obtained from the information given in the question. All right, so we are now looking at a question that came in an exam or the assignment. Okay, so we can now look at this question. Okay, so on this question, we have the information here where we are saying the question says a company manufactures two products, A and B. Each A requires 2 C's and 1 D. Each D requires 2 F's and 1 E, while each E requires 1 F. Each product B requires 1 D and 2 E's. The table below shows data from the inventory records. So from here, what we are simply saying is that for each of these products that we need, product C, product D, product E, and product F, the lot sizing rules for C are fixed, is a fixed order quantity. For D is a lot for lot. For E, we are simply saying is fixed order quantity. For F is period order quantity of every 2 days or 2 weeks, depending on which one they are using weeks. All right, so lead time is the time taken between when they place an order and when you receive an order. The initial receipts, these are units of a commodity received by the firm from suppliers. The beginning inventory is 25 for C. For D, they started with 0 units. F 150, that is E 150, F with 600. So first important, the most important thing here is to draw the product structure tree. Each A requires 2 C's and 1 D. Okay, so under this one, we can now check okay, so we have each product A requires, so each product A requires 2 C's and 1 D. So A requires 2 C's and 1 D. So A requires 2 C's and 1 D. Then D from the information there. So A requires 2 C's and 1 D as the question. Okay, so A requires 2 C's and 1 D. And then D requires 1 F and 1 E from the question. So each A requires 2 C's and 1 D. Each D requires 2 F's and 1 E. So D requires 2 F's and 1 E, but A requires 2 C's and 1 D. So from here, this is where the structure is coming from. So it's still on product A, which requires 2 C's and 1 D. Okay, so under this one, we have D requires 2 F's and 1 E. Then E from the information, E requires, or each E requires 1 F, or each E requires 1 F. So each E requires 1 F, E requires 1F. So this is about the product structure for A, product structure for A, which is this one. Then getting to B, but B, they're simply saying, well, each B, product B, requires 1D and 2 E's. Each product B requires 1D and 2 E's. So meaning B requires 1D and 2 E's. So this is about what we have on this one. This was just a duplication, which is the examiner can still accept. But for the sake of the structure for MRP preparation, we just have to consider where B is ending. B requires 1D and 2 E's. We just extended here to just complete it thoroughly, but when preparing MRP, this will not be there because this E, 1E requires 1E, each E requires 1F. Well, each E requires 1F. So we are simply saying each E requires 1F. Then there are 2 E's here which require, so each E requires 1F. So we have A1F here. So this is E requires 1F. And then the D, okay, so we're saying the D requires, the other one for D requires 2 F's. Each D requires 2 F's. So each D requires 2 F's. So D requires 2 F's. So this is the structure product that we have for product A and product B. These are the final products. So these ones are called final products that we have on this one. So here we now, question says we need to prepare the MRP record. So the table has been, so this one is called the inventory status file. So this is inventory status file. Inventory status file. So from here, we have now the MPS for product A calls for 85 units to be started in week 3 and 100 units to be started in week 6. So for A, they have told us already what we need. So 85 in week 3, take note of this, and this other one in week 6. So this is just what we have as a gross requirements for A. Then for B, it's just 180 in week 5. So from here, we just need now to prepare the MRP for, now we need to develop the MRP requirements showing the gross requirements. This is the order, the schedule receipts, the on-hand inventory, net requirements, and the planned order releases for the next 6 weeks for item C. I'm interested in C, D, E, and F only. C, D, and F. This is what they were interested in. All right, so now getting down to this problem, we have the A, for A requires the 85 in week 3 and 100. Then B is 180 in week 5, according to what they indicated in the question. So we have to know where the C is coming from, where the D is coming from, where E is coming from, and F is coming from. Okay, so meaning our C is coming from A, so we can now, since what is this one, the C is coming from A, so meaning that we need to get what is for A, then goes to C. So for A, we have here, we'll go to C in the same weeks, but by 2, because there is a quantity of a 2 here. There's a quantity of a 2. So meaning we will multiply those ones by 2. So here, this is in the same week. So MRP for C, and we have to check what C is about. So C was fixed order quantity of 220 units. So we have the gross requirements is 170 in week 3, multiplied this by 2, that was coming from A in that week. Then also multiplying 200 by 2, which is 200. The schedule receipts they had given us, so schedule receipts for C is 280 in week 1. The on hand was 225. So meaning that we have this 280 then plus this 25, which is giving us a 305. And this is our demand. Gross requirement is the same as demand. So whatever came from our suppliers and what we opened with, we aggregated. So we're getting the 305 here. There's no demand even in this week. This plus this minus that, there's no demand. So we're getting on and is still 305. Now 305 plus 0, it is still 305 minus 170, you're getting 1. So we're adding these two, then minus the demand, because this is the stock available, scheduled receipts from the suppliers plus on hand, minus a demand of 170, we're still remaining with 135. 135 plus 0 minus the 0, we're still getting 135. 135 plus 0 minus 0, you're still remaining 135. 135 plus 0 minus 200, we have the shortage of 65. So what happens when you have a shortage? We need to order the fixed ordering policy of 220. So that's why we have ordered in this week we have a problem. We've ordered a 220. So here we should have a 220 minus 65 that we need to sort out. So we are going to have our on hand of 155 units. Here it will still remain as on hand units because we have ordered the receipt of 220 minus the shortage of 65. So we are not ordering as per shortage. We are ordering because we have the fixed ordering policy of ordering 220 units regardless of the shortage. So even if the shortage is 50, but we should order the fixed ordering policy of 200. So after ordering this, we can sort out the 65. Then we have the 155. And then for us to have a receipt of 220 units in week 6, we have to check what lead time we are given. For this one, lead time was 3 weeks. So time taken between our LT is a lead time. Time taken between when place an order, and when you receive an order. So this is aspect of lead time. So for us to have a receipt in week 6 of 220, we placed an order 3 weeks before. So this one would have been released in week 3. That's what it means. For us to have a receipt here, we placed an order 3 weeks before. So this one should have been released in week 3. All right, then. So we're getting down to, okay, so getting down to the other one where we now prepare for D. So we have to check where D is coming from. So we have to go back and check the structure. So D is coming from where? So D is coming from 2 sources, from B and A and B. That's where, so we combine, so we have a combined D. So in getting the combined D, we aggregate, we sum up what is from A and B, coming up with one for a single product, which is product D. So D coming from A by 1, our A is this one. So we take them the way they are because the quantity for D are 1s here. Even that of B, it will take it as just 1 because it's coming from there. All right, so this is about how this one is all about. So we now get into D from A and D from B. So we are combining these. So it will be in week 3, there will be 85 for D and 100 for week 6 and 180 for week 5. So we're getting down to D. We are getting 85. It came from A because the quantity was 1. Even here it was 1 for B, and then here it was 1. And then we just have to check and see what was our lead time. Lead time was 2 weeks, and it was lot for lot. So under lot for lot, order net requirements. That's what it means by lot for lot. So order the shortage, exactly the shortage is what it means as we're looking at that one. So we have to look at what other information is there. So for D, the on hand is 0, no scheduled receipts. These ones were zeros. So we just need to now start up. So this one is 0 plus 0 minus 0. We have a 0. 0 plus this is 0 minus 0. We have this is 0. 0 plus 0 minus 85. We have the shortage of 85 units. What does it mean? We need to order the requirements. So it's because it's lot for lot. So net requirement, the shortage. So meaning order the shortage under this one. Okay, so excuse me. So now to the ordering policy. So we have ordered 85 units. So after ordering 85 units, we should sort out 85 units. So we are getting 0 here. 0 plus 0 on this week. To meet the demand of 0, we are getting 0. 0 plus 0 to meet 0, we are getting the net requirement of 180. So we need to order the shortage of 180. So after ordering 180, we can sort out this 180 and it still remain with 0. 0 plus 0 to meet the 0 is 0. But so 0 plus 0 to meet 100, we are getting the shortage of 100. We don't have it, so we need to order 100. So this is where we have the order receipts in these weeks. Now, for us to have these order receipts in these weeks, it means that we place an order, which have to check the lead time. For D is 2 weeks, so we placed an order 2 weeks before. So this one should have been released 2 weeks before. This one also should have been released 2 weeks before, and this one should have been released 2 weeks before. This is an MRP for product D. All right, then, so we now have to look at now MRP for product E. MRP for product E, we are getting down to the structure again. We check where the E is coming from. E is coming from E from B by 2, and then E from D by 1. So we need to aggregate this and multiply what is coming from B by 2. So our B is here in this week by 2, so it will be 360 in week 6 for E. And then for E from D, we have just from preparing D. So meaning that our E, we multiply this one from D, it was by 1. This one by 1. Even this one was by 1. Because this is what was released from D by 1, according to the structure. From the structure here, we can tell that E from D is by 1. So we need to multiply and get what we need, of course. And then from here now we can continue. And then we see now that our E, we're getting this one by B, we're getting a 2 there, because from the structure here, E from B is by 2. There's a quantity of 2 here. We have to look at the quantities. So this one, and then the lot sizing rule that is used here for E is fixed order quantity of 300 units. You order 300 units regardless of requirements. So with the opening stock, we have to check for opening stock here. We started with 150 units, and then the scheduled receipts is 300 units in week 3. So meaning that we have to take account of these ones that we are given. So week 3, the scheduled receipts on hand is 150. So week 3, 300 units for E, 150 plus 0. Yes. All right, so now we are looking at MRP for product E. So the MRPs, these ones, we are looking at where the E is coming from. So the E, you look at E is coming from D, and E also is coming from B. So from the D by 1, so we just have to check how we prepared our D. So our D, they are using these releases are the ones we consider. We multiply these ones by 1, they should go to E. So E by 1 by 1 by 1 in the various weeks the way they are. We use the releases for that to go to E because of the structure. Then as well as E also is the same product, but it's coming from B by 2. So we check for B. B is 180 already here. It was given by 2. So meaning that to be 180 by 2 with 360. So these are the gross requirements for E. Then the inventory status file, we are simply saying we have the 300 units in week 3, and then the lead time for E is 3 weeks. The on hand is 150. We are ordering on a fixed basis of 300 units. So regardless of the shortage, we should order 300 units. That's what it means. All right, so now getting down to the E, 300 units actual receipts that we receive from our suppliers. And on hand is 150. So say 150 plus 0 to meet the demand of 85, we still remain with 65 units here. Then 65 plus 0 to meet the demand of 0, we still remain with a 65. 65 plus 300, it is actually 365 minus the 180, we are remaining with 185. 185 plus 0 to meet the demand of 100, we are remaining with 85. 85 plus a 0 to meet the demand of 360. It is actually not possible because 85 minus 360 is 275 shortage, which is the net requirement. So when we have a shortage, what do? We have the fixed ordering policy of 300 units. So in the week where we have the net requirement, which is the shortage, we need to order the fixed ordering policy of 300 units. So after we have ordered 300, in this week, we can sort out the 275. We remain with a 25 on hand. On hand of 25 plus 0 to meet the demand of 0, we still remain with 25. But again, we need to first and foremost say, for us to have a receipt of 300 units in week 5, why are we receiving week 5? So we have to look at the aspect of lead time is 3 weeks. So 3 weeks, so time taken between when an order is placed and when an order is received is a lead time. So for us to have a receipt of 300 in week 5, this 300 would have been released the same in week 2. This is when, so it would have been released 3 weeks before. All right, there is a way where when you place an order for a cake, they give you a lead time of 3 days, means that you will not receive it the day you are placing an order. You receive it, at, okay, so this is the 3 weeks that we have here. So this one will be released 3 weeks before. That's for the first for lead time. Our LT is equal to 3 weeks. Okay, so this is about what we have. Then getting down to MRP for product F now. So this is MRP for product F. So we have to check where F is coming from. So MRP for product F, we have to check because our requirement was to prepare MRP for C, D, E, and F. So we have to check where F is coming from. So we go back to the structure tree. So the structure tree is very, very important. This was just for the sake of the diagram for B, because B was only ending at the point where they said each product B requires 1 D and 2 E's. There was no need for extension. So 1 D and 2 E's. That's how come this one D and 2 E's. For B requires 1 D and 2 E's. So this is the reason why this was just an extension. So we need to actually okay, so this is about why we need to go for this. So we have to check now the F coming from E and F coming from D, but by 2. So we have to take note of this. F coming from D is by 2. Then F coming from E is by 1. So we need to check carefully. So let's go to D. Our D is by 2. So these are what our D's that we got. Going to F is by 2. Going to F is by 2. Okay, F coming from D is by 2. And then F coming from E is by 1. So we combine because a single product D, that's a single product F that we are preparing for. So from F from D is by 2, F from E by 1. So from D by 2. So as we come to here, F, so this is from D. This one is from D. This one is from D. So we're getting these ones from D, the way they are, by 2 going to F. Then the other one coming from E, F from E is by 1. So F from E is by 1. E is 300 here, but by 1. So this is coming from E. So this is a single product F that we have. Then we have to check the aspect of information from the inventory status file. For F is 600 beginning stock, no schedule receipts. Lead time is 2 days. All right, then so we have the beginning stock of 300. So our 300 here, this is 600. Okay, then add this one, 600 plus 0. Minus 170, so we are getting the 430 as on hand because we're able to sort out this. 430 plus 0 minus the 300, we are having a 130. 130 plus 0 minus the 360. We have a problem here. We have the shortage of 230. So the POQ of 2 weeks means that we need to order for that in that week when we have a problem of the net requirements of 230. So we order the 360 plus the 200. So we are ordering the total of 560 units. Now we already have a 130. So minus a 130. So we should order a 430. This is our order receipt. This is where the 430 is coming from. It means in that week when you have a problem, we have a problem with net requirement in week 3. There's a problem here because we have a shortage of 230, 130 plus 0 to meet the demand of 360. We can't. We have a shortage of 230 units to meet the demand of 360. So what should we do? Already we have 130, so order for the 2 periods, but we're supposed to subtract the available stock of 130. So means that we are going to have a planned receipt of 430 units that we can sort out here. We remain with on hand of 200 units. Now 200 units that we have on hand plus the 0 units to meet the demand of 200, yes, we can, will remain with 0. 0 plus 0 minus 0, it will be 0. 0 plus 0 minus the 0, it will be 0. Then for us to have a receipt in week 3, we have to check the aspect of lead time, the time taken. So for lead time is 2 weeks for this one. So meaning that this one would have been released 2 weeks before. So this is why we are having this. This one would have been released 2 weeks before. So this is an MRP for product F for this question that we are looking at. Okay, for this company that manufactures 2 products. So this is how the C, D, E, and F are supposed to be prepared concerning this question. So we've gone through the review of this assignment concerning question 2 on MRP. So it has 6 components that we need to know, and the aspect of lead time is very, very important. But among all of them, the requirements, the important point to note is the product structure tree, because if this tree is wrong, it will affect the preparation of MRP for each of these products, C getting down to F. So the most important thing is just to understand the structure tree and the aspect of when are we having the net requirements, and what should we do when we have the net requirements. Should we order as per requirement, or should we order the fixed ordering policy of an amount given, as in the case of a product C required a fixed ordering policy of 220 units, even if the requirements were 65. So you can have something to carry on. Even the other product E also required a fixed ordering policy of 300 units, regardless of the requirement of 275 units. So we can have something to carry on in the other week or in the other period. And then like the other one where we have the lot for lot for product D, where we're supposed to order then the requirements, that's the lot for lot, you order the net requirements. And then the other one where we are looking at the period order quantity, where we are ordering every 2 weeks time. So we order in that period, we have the requirement, the net requirement, so we order the gross requirements for that period, and the other one subtracting what is already there. So this is about the material requirement planning for this question 2. Unless there are any questions, but we can end the class for now.